This is a stimulus check update and daily news report, and with Congress back in session, a lot of big things are going on. Looks like President Biden may have a Democrat progressive challenger for the 2024 presidential election, and Joe Manchin is back to the negotiating table with some big demands. I'll let you know what he said. Also, I'll give the latest stimulus check news like this. Fourth stimulus check, $2,000 petition could finish this January. Will there be a fourth stimulus payment amid Omicron? Also, this article, bonus 125 stimulus check being sent to millions in this state. Do you qualify for a payment before this date? I'll also give you the latest video clip from Premier Jayapal about the Build Back Better plan. I'll give you some other important updates as well. Hope you're having a more than mundane Monday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So what is going on with COVID and Omicron? So Omicron evades immunity better than Delta, according to a Danish study finds. So that's the reason why a lot of people, or almost everybody who's vaccinated, is still getting infected by Omicron, which makes people wonder what's the point of the vaccination, although they say that it does lower the severity of the cases. So Omicron is 2.7 to 3.7 times more infectious, and Omicron coronavirus variant is better at circumventing vaccinated people's immunity than Delta variant, according to a Danish study published last week. Here's a video clip explaining more between Delta and Omicron.
Meanwhile, the surge in COVID cases, boy, does it continue, with more cases up now, more than 200% in the last 2 weeks alone. Meg Terrell joins us with the latest. Meg, I was on vacation. I was out of the country last week, and I flew into Newark, and I thought to myself, I am flying into the center of the storm all over again.
Yeah, you talked about the numbers being amazing. I mean, these are just incredible, Andrew. When you look at the case numbers, we've surpassed 400,000 on the daily average in the U.S. now, and we've got that Omicron signature spike straight up. But while cases are just unbelievable, and that's likely a drastic undercount because A, there's not enough testing, and B, a lot of people are getting rapid tests, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, to report those to state health departments. The hospitalization and death curves are not the same. And this is also a signature we've been seeing with Omicron. So there's about 12,000 people going into the hospital every day right now in the U.S., about 100,000 total currently hospitalized. That, of course, is going up, and you can see that, but it's not going up at the rate that cases are. Deaths have remained about 1,200 per day, so really steady right now. There is, of course, a warning, though, that with this many cases, hospitals still could become overwhelmed. Experts have been looking to South Africa and to the UK in particular as signs of what might be to come in the United States. We have seen South Africa's cases go up there at a peak higher than they saw for their Delta wave, but come down really rapidly over a course of 4 to 6 weeks. And deaths there have not followed anywhere close to the level we saw with the Delta peak in South Africa. So there are reasons for optimism, but folks like Dr. Fauci still warning the healthcare system could come under tremendous strain, and already really is. Meanwhile, of course, we look at cases not just because of cases themselves, but because this affects the economy. A lot of folks are out. You guys were talking about all the flights that were canceled. Dr. Fauci was talking yesterday on the Sunday shows about that new guidance from the CDC, 5-day isolation time. It got a lot of pushback because there was no testing at the end of it. He said that might change. Here's what he told us, or told them.
You're right, there has been some concern about why we don't ask people at that 5-day period to get tested. That is something that is now under consideration. The CDC is very well aware that there has been some pushback about that. Looking at it again, there may be an option in that testing could be a part of that. And I think we're going to be hearing more about that in the next day or so from the CDC.
He said the same thing on CNN. So we could be hearing about a change potentially to this 5-day guidance, which would affect a lot of folks, guys. So we'll be listening really closely to hear about that. Right. Back over to you.
Hopefully this trend continues with more variants to come out where it's less severe. The way I see it playing out and how this whole thing could end is that there's probably going to be more and more variants coming with less severe cases or less severe symptoms, and everybody's going to get it. There's not going to be any symptoms, and then it's just one of those things like the flu, and then we just kind of forget about it. That's hopefully the only way I think I could see this playing out. I don't see it being completely squashed, but let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. So with Omicron, are we going to get a fourth stimulus check. So let's go over this article. Fourth stimulus check, $2,000 petition could finish this January. Will there be fourth stimulus payments amid Omicron? So will Omicron cause a fourth stimulus check? Referring to the petition right here. So for the $2,000 per month to every American, it's currently at 2,996,000 signatures so far, so a little less than 4,000 signatures away from completing this to get to 3 million. And once it hits 3 million, it does not mean that everyone's going to get a fourth stimulus check or that Congress is going to adopt it. At this point, there are no Congress members who have adopted the idea of a general fourth stimulus check. A lot of it has just been state stimulus checks like this, where bonus $125 stimulus check being sent to millions in the state. Do you qualify for a payment before this date? So this is referring to Indiana giving out $125 stimulus checks for anyone who does their 2021 tax returns. They get $125 on top of that because of a surplus in the state. Then we have this one, stimulus checks, $600 to $2,000 for some Americans. So this is going on in the Navajo tribe in the United States, where adults will get $2,000 and children will get $600 stimulus checks. So this is coming out of the $557 million that was for the coronavirus federal relief fund. So all that stimulus money that went to the tribe, which is going to help 350,000 tribal members get this $2,600 checks. When it comes to the presidential election, the left is already looking to 2024. Some want to see a Biden primary challenge. So it looks like a lot of Democrats are not too happy with the way President Biden is running his presidency or his administration, and it looks like he may have a challenger. I want to get your opinion on this. Let me know down in the comments below if you voted for President Biden. If you're a Democrat, do you want him to run again in 2024, or should someone else step up and do it? So also another article right here, former Sanders presidential campaign manager says Biden will have a progressive challenger in 2024. President Biden doesn't seem like the same person as he was when he was campaigning. It looks like he just seems a little more tired. So ex-Sanders campaign manager Jeff Weaver says President Biden will face a liberal opponent in 2024. Will there be a progressive challenger? Yes, he told Politico in an interview. A candidate who isn't currently in office might emerge to challenge Biden, per the report. So it looks like someone not in the Senate, not in the House, may become a candidate against President Biden. We'll see how that goes. I'll keep you updated. When it comes to the Build Back Better plan, Senate Democrats and Biden resume Manchin chase to salvage the Build Back Better, basically pleading and begging with Manchin to get something done because the Democrats' livelihood depends basically on Joe Manchin to get this Build Back Better done. If the Build Back Better is not done, Democrats could lose their positions in the House and the Senate as well as the presidency. So scoop, Manchin returns to Build Back Better negotiations with demands. So Joe Manchin is coming back to negotiate. Originally he said, or before he said that he was out of negotiations. Look like he's back in it with a big demand. I'll let you know what that is. So Manchin and top White House aides traded recriminations after negotiations fell apart, but President Biden and the senator subsequently spoke by phone late in the evening, December 19th. They agreed to continue to talk, and Manchin stayed in touch with senior White House officials over the holidays. The week before Christmas, reports emerged about how close he and Biden were on a potential deal, and the details included a $1.8 trillion offer from Manchin that contained money for universal preschool and green tax credits, but nothing for child tax credit, which provides families up to $3,600 per year, and families who make up to $400,000 have been receiving some child tax credit payments under the program, which ended January 1st. So looks like the child tax credit may be axed if Joe Manchin has a say in it, and that may be the only way that Democrats can pass something. Is that a good idea, bad idea? Should they also include some monthly checks for disability like SSDI or people on fixed income as well? Let me know your thoughts on that. Here is the latest from Pramila Jayapal talking about the Build Back Better.
Let's talk about Build Back Better. You know, as I said in the intro, Congress comes back, Build Back Better, at least trying to get it reworked into the president's desk, is on the agenda. You wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post a week ago today laying down a marker. I want to have you listen to what Congressman Ro Khanna, also of the Congressional Progressive Caucus of California, had to say when I asked him about the future of Build Back Better. Have a listen.
Do I think it's going to be the bill that we voted out of the House? No. Do I think it's going to be the exact framework that President Biden had? No. I'm a realist. And here's the point. We in the House stand ready to compromise. We want to get something done. So what we need the 50 senators to tell us is, what are you for? And the president and the House will work to getting something done in a compromise that is necessary for the American public.
And Congresswoman Jayapal, what I took from Congressman Khanna's statement there is that we stand ready to compromise, and that the bill, a new Build Back Better, won't look like what we've been talking about for months now. So from your vantage point, what absolutely needs to be in the new version of Build Back Better?
Well, Jonathan, the thing that I tried to lay out in the op-ed was the process that got us to where we are, which included an agreement from Senators Manchin and Sinema and the president, and that the Progressive Caucus endorsed, what we're calling the framework that the president laid out before he went to COP26. And it had the critical priorities, not as big as we would want, not as many as we would want, but it had the critical priorities of the care economy. That's child care, it's pre-K, universal pre-K, elder care. Those were all things that Senator Manchin agreed to. In addition, housing. He agreed to that. These are things I've spoken to him about as well, by the way. He also agreed to, the provisions around climate change. Those were already negotiated from what we had originally wanted, but a significant investment in really taking on climate and reducing carbon emissions. That was absolutely critical. He agreed to health care, some pieces of health care, to strengthen the ability for people to get health care, particularly important now during Omicron. These were all pieces that he actually agreed to. In my conversations with him as well, he supported. And my belief is that we can still get that done. And so the call now is to do two things. One, work very quickly to actually get that legislation passed. It's urgent, along with voting rights. Those two pieces absolutely are urgent on the legislative calendar. And then the second is, because we don't know how long that piece is going to take, there are executive actions that the president can take today to actually make life better for people and to, let's say, up the ante a little bit to make sure that we do get legislation done, because the other path has to be executive action. So I think we will be rolling out our list of things that we want the president to work on. He began that by saying that he was going to put a pause on student debt, extend that pause beyond the original date. That's good, but we would like him to cancel student debt. We'd like him to take some aggressive actions on climate and a few other things to cut costs for American people. So that's really what we're calling on the president to do.
Okay, so you said just now that you believe we can still get that done, meaning the framework that you laid out there. But I'm still sitting here thinking, how are you going to get that done when the guy you were negotiating with and who you say agreed to all these things said that he, quote, just can't?
Well, he said he just can't do the bill that we passed out of the House, which look, you know how I feel about this. I've told Senator Manchin directly. As somebody, I certainly respect him, and he represents a state where not a lot of Democrats win. And so I respect that he has a very different view of this. But he said he couldn't do the bill that we passed through the House. And as you remember, we added some things that were not in the framework. And so what we hope now, and what I know the president is working on with Senator Manchin, is to go back to the original framework that he committed to. There were only a few things, that maybe 10% of the bill, that was not what he committed to. And I think that it was unfortunate that he, announced on national television that he was essentially killing the bill, because there was a little bit that he hadn't agreed to. But let's go back to the table. Let's get this done. It is too important for us, particularly as Omicron surges. And we have these clouds over us, Jonathan, the clouds of the economic uncertainty because of COVID, and of course, the enormous cloud of our democracy that is in front of us. Joe Biden, Democrats need to succeed in helping Americans to see that we can get stuff done and that we are going to make their lives better and that we are going to protect our democracy. That is the most important thing.
Congresswoman, have you spoken to Senator Manchin since he blew things up?
I spoke to him the day after his conversation on Fox News. He called me and we spoke then. I've not spoken to him since that time, but I am always happy to speak to him and think about how we get it back to that original framework. Jonathan, I do have to say that as much as, you know, we are pushing hard on these fronts and we haven't yet reached the finish line, I want to remind people that under President Biden and with the democratically controlled House and Senate, we have, this time last year, we had over 800,000 unemployment claims. That has declined by 75%, and we've created 6 million new jobs in just 1 year under President Biden. And COVID is nowhere near where it was in terms of people being vaccinated, people wearing masks, and of course we have the surge. We've got to take care of it. But I don't want people to forget how much we've done with the American Rescue Plan and with President Biden's leadership. That is really important. Now we've got to cross the finish line on these other pieces.
One more question real quickly, Congresswoman, and that is this. If a Build Back Better bill comes out of the Senate that just has child tax credit, universal pre-K, these are fully funded, not partially funded, but fully funded, and say elder care, those three things, only those three things fully funded, would that be acceptable?
Well, let's not go down that line yet, because as I said, these other pieces we're also committed to. So let's figure out what of those things can get done. But Jonathan, let's also remember that universal pre-K, elder care, child tax credit, each one of these things on their own is also significant. But I'm not quite ready to negotiate with ourselves. I want to have a person that we're negotiating with to get it over the finish line. Otherwise, it makes no sense.
So we're probably going to start to see a lot more changes now that Congress is back in session and it's crunch time. They need to get something done before the midterm elections. We're going to see the campaigning and all things like that. So it's going to be pretty crazy now moving forward. Anyways, that is all the stimulus news that I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
How are you doing? Hi guys, how are you doing? I want to give you 3 things of the tip of the day. So first off, be happy, be grateful, and be humble. And then I want to do one more thing to you. Do the things that you want to do in a lifetime. Guys, you guys can do whatever you want, at least if you want to do it. Because I'm here for you, you guys like us.
Thank you so much for watching. So yeah, today is day 3 of my juice cleanse. I got celery juice and carrot lemon juice here. So yeah, we've been juicing. I still got 4 more days left of this juice cleanse. So hopefully I make it. I'm feeling a little more tired today, a little more winded. So that video just took everything out of me. But anyways, hopefully you're having a great day. If you want to check out my latest Wise Vibes video, get yourself in a good mood, feel a little more positive, I recommend clicking this link up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.